This video will take you through some of the highlights from the 2008 Pointe retail marketing event here in Paris. I'm Ian Whitney with the Integer Group and I'll be your host. So let's get started. Here we have a textbook example of a category solution. Color-coded, simple alphanumeric segmentation, informational touchscreen kiosk at the center, and space for additional manufacturer messaging up top. It's a wonderful solution, but we all know this tends to be a tough sell. Here we have an example of a freestanding interactive kiosk. The upper screen delivers top-line product information, and with Wi-Fi enabled kiosks, this content can be updated remotely. The interactive touchscreen provides greater product detail, and these young men are actually Bluetoothing a brochure to their phone. This is a great example of a low-tech category solution. You see this technology similarly deployed in 80s-era metro stations for route information, as well as any number of museums with little bulbs depicting fault lines or an army's march. What is great about this solution is that it's simple, durable, and effective, with no software to freeze up. Here are some examples of info shades. These are low-tech interactive tools that can be used to provide depth of sale copy and product information. They're a good tool to deploy when trying to clarify product choice because they deliver a great deal of information and have a relatively small footprint at retail. Here we have an interactive floor graphic. This is an engaging device that could be interestingly applied to some of the work we do in hair removal and shaving, as it lends itself nicely to hair growth and the reveal. We're seeing a lot of miniature LCDs in market these days as the per unit cost for the technology has fallen dramatically. Wi-Fi content updates also allow them to really pay out in the long term, and retailers like them because of their small footprint and premium look. It also deserves mention that technologies like these reduce POS landfill and will only become more popular as environmentalism takes root. The short-term challenge will no longer be selling this technology in, it will be convincing the client that this is not a place to run their TV ad. This display represents a good use of LED lighting. Rather than flashing simply for noticeability, in this example, the LED lights actually help deliver key characteristics of the product. This is an interesting display in that it clearly creates a category destination for the target, and it also does a wonderful job of creating order for bag candies, which are normally a merchandising disaster on shelf. For those of you unfamiliar, Chupa Chups created a premium lollipop segment based on sales of single units merchandised at checkout when the competition was selling multiple units bagged on shelf. Their displays were identical to what you see here, but obviously much smaller. This large display sells multiple units more or less bagged as a giant lollipop, brilliant in its consistency and a disruptive execution. This type of form factor not only disrupts, it also creates a destination. For whatever reason, people just like giant stuff. And if you planted this display in the desert somewhere, you're pretty much guaranteed that hundreds of tourists would make a ridiculous detour to see the world's largest Mento. That wraps up the highlights from the 2008 Pointe marketing event here in Paris. Please feel free to email any questions to me, Ian, at iwhitney@integerparis.com. Thank you, et au revoir.